If you're part of the celiac community in Montreal, then you've probably heard this name before. Louise is often considered the queen of GF in this neck of the woods. We're outside her grocery store and bakery in Dorval on the West Island, so let's go find out how seriously she takes gluten-free. Louise Pearl was diagnosed with celiac disease 13 years ago, and like most, began to panic.
I cried. I cried. It was a learning curve. It was the first time I remember going to a regular grocery store, and this was probably part of the motivation to open this place. It took me about 2 hours, and I had about 20 things in my cart. And I came home, and half of them I made a mistake, and I couldn't eat them. So it was devastating. It was a shock, like it is to most people. It was something that I had never thought about. I had never researched. I had no clue whatsoever.
Hungry for information, she joined the Canadian Celiac Association Quebec chapter within a year of her diagnosis.
Went to one of their annual general meetings, and from there I ended up being on the board of directors for 9 years, and I was president for 7 years.
Eventually, she opened what many call GlutenFree Heaven, a grocery store with thousands of products all under one roof.
We have just about everything that you would find in a normal grocery store that has gluten. We'll have the gluten-free version. Protein bars, which are important because you have to travel and you have to have a backup in case you have nothing else you can eat. So they're really popular and they're quite necessary in our diets.
You heard that story about the airline who gave
the banana. That was not the best meal, I'm sure, but it was safe.
That's why protein bars.
And then we have gluten-free breads galore in all the different types of flavors, shapes, sizes, all kinds of crackers and cookies.
She and her staff vet every single product, so you don't even have to read the labels.
If we have a product that's proposed to us that doesn't have certification on it, we will contact the company. We will ask them all the proper questions. We'll make sure that it's a product that is safe for somebody, because when you say gluten-free, it has to be safe for celiacs. Hence, seriously gluten-free.
The prices are the same for these products as in a regular grocery store, and yes, that gluten-free premium price still stands, but Louise says there's good reason for that.
Throughout the process of making those and certifying them, there'll be steps that are involved, which means it guarantees that it's gluten-free. The steps and certification program, as an example, costs money, so the companies obviously will have to charge more for that. The other thing is that a lot of the products we use are made with rice flour and products such as that do not grow in Canada. So they have to be brought in. Wheat grows everywhere in Canada. It doesn't have to travel over the ocean. So that's another point why it's also more expensive.
Good thing the Canadian government gives us a tax credit on that one. Louise also offers classes in store to help with the transition to gluten-free.
Food is very emotional for a lot of people, and food restrictions, I mean, if you're on a diet and you choose to do so because you want to be healthier, that's one thing. But when you have a diet imposed upon you, such as the one we have to follow, it's very difficult, and it isolates you. Often people will say, you know what, I just don't go out anymore. I don't go to the restaurant. I don't go to family dinners. I don't go out with my friends, which is bad. I mean, it can be very difficult. It can be a very lonely disease unless you have a whole lot of celiac friends. So it's really, you need to educate yourself on how to eat out with friends and how to be safe, and how to still have your social life around this disease.
If you're in the mood for something baked fresh, you don't have to go far. I might be eating all your samples.
We make hundreds of products that are gluten-free that are delicious, and frankly, you can't tell the difference between that and the regular versions.
I can attest to that. Even though Louise says she's proud of her inventory that caters to all kinds of taste buds, she believes this is just a fraction of what could have been if the laws were a bit different.
There are companies that will not ship to Quebec because they know that they have to have the nutritional facts and a couple of different things that need to be bilingual absolutely to be imported or brought into Quebec. Companies don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered to make separate packaging for Quebec. They don't want to be bothered with the fact that maybe their product will not sell. Therefore, it's a large investment when you're bringing in to a different language. So there's many things that I cannot actually bring into my store, even if it's perfectly gluten-free, just because the labeling is not bilingual. And that kills me, because I could have a store the size of Walmart full of gluten-free products from around the world.
Still, there are definitely more choices here than you'll find at the big chains. Gluten-free soy sauce, a must for those pad thais and stir fries. What else do I need? So many choices. I feel like a celiac in a gluten-free store. Oh wait, I am. Oh, pita. And these are the toaster bags, right?
They are.
Essential for traveling because you can't share a toaster with gluten-filled bread. Got everything I need. It's safe to say Louise Sans Gluten is seriously gluten-free.